Start to the streaming. And let me see. Do I got Devin, you're here. I'm going to drop a link on you. And Devin, if you could throw that thingamajiggy into the class schedule, I would really appreciate it. As soon as I've got it. Devin, you're here. I'm going to drop a link on you. And there we go. All right.
Okay, I'll send it over.
Coming, baby, right there. Okay, there we go. That's the link for today. Cuckoo's egg post is the cuckoo's. Let me go look at our schedule. Cole asked if the cuckoo's egg was due today. I don't remember. Honestly, I'm so, I don't know, man. This freaking recovery has been just brutal. Where are we at? 305 cheat. I'm gonna get it and I'll throw it on the big screen. We'll throw the schedule on there. And we're just fake it till we make it. That's all we're doing. We're just trying to have a good time, okay? That is what we're trying to do and learn some stuff and experience some stuff and have a little party together and take some of the pressure off. Today is the cuckoo's egg. This thing ought to be unlocked. What am I doing? What am I? Why is that not unlocked? Because I'm a doofus. That's why. Hey, Devin, would you mind? Would you mind like just undoing that thing? You know what I mean? Make that guy go live. I don't know. Let me just look and see if the book inspired post. Um,
Wait, make which go live? Sorry.
no, you know what to do. I just published it.
Okay.
And but yeah, let me just do this real quick, and then we know what we've got. Yeah, but we talked a little bit about it. I know last week, and I was trying to figure out everything. This guy is going to go, and then you all get like a real insider's view of the great mystery of all this kind of stuff. And I think I usually make that guy like blue, so it's clickable. And then when does that guy do? When does it do? Um, Let me see. It's kind of due today, I guess. I mean, it was supposed to be done. And again, your, my chaos is your benefit. And so I'm not going to be where, if you don't have that done, well, I just barely unlocked, I'm such an idiot. Just barely unlocked the bloody assignment. So what are you going to do? Okay, I'm going to play with that some more. And then let's make it do. Let's make it do. What's Sunday? What's this coming Sunday? Today's the 2nd. Is it the 7th? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. That's going to be in March. Thank goodness it's March. We made it out of February. We'll make this due Sunday, okay? For the actual making the post, have it be due on Sunday. Okay. And really my apologies. Also, by the way, coming up, as long as I'm in the edit mode here, let me just remind that your LinkedIn profile, which I really am gonna like do the thing, you need to have that. There's some assignment stuff. I'll get this stuff cleaned up, I promise. And then we've got, actually, this is all wrong because next week's spring break. So I'm going to shove all that down. And then what's really funny is, yeah, I got room. I got room to shove everything down. So I'm still going to shove everything down. And we got spring break next week. Thank goodness for spring break. I need it. You need it. We all need it. Okay, just saving that. I will. Here's the big dilemma. The big dilemma that I've had is that for the last 4 weeks, I've been either like up walking with my cool tricked out walk. I got a cool tricked out walker with a telescoping arm with a phone attachment, so I could like walk around my house in the middle of the night with like a Netflix something, binging something on Netflix on my phone while I'm walking. So I've got this cool tricked out walker, like the coolest octogenarian on the planet. Um, and so I was really literally for 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks, either like lying mostly flat in a recliner that's all stretched out or up on my feet walking and sitting at my desk until literally class time last week, right? When it was actually class time, those 6 class periods were the only times I was sitting at my desk because there's this downward pressure on the spine and you kind of got to wait at least 4 weeks before you start spending any kind of significant time. So this week, yesterday and today, I actually began to spend time at my desk outside of class. So anyway, I apologize. You know what I've been going through, and I know you understand, but I just really uh, apologize. Be very sincerely. Uh, and actually, I'm going to do one thing. Hold tight. I got to go grab an ice pack because I got to stick it right back here in my back, and it will help me get through everything. In the meantime, we did talk about finishing Cuckoo's Egg, did we not? And I'd like to talk about it. So, reading completed. I want to talk about Cuckoo's Egg, and maybe by way, can I just do this? There's no penalty on this, but I'm going to drop kind of like a survey. I'm going to just say survey. I read all or most of. I'm just trying to gauge, the level of our conversation. Uh, okay, so I just dropped a little in the chat, okay, and it just says survey. I read all or most of the Cuckoo's Egg by now, and then what I want you to do, yeah, thank you. Give me a Y and give me an N, and literally there's like no pen. We're not going in there going, who said N? Knock that guy down. We're not. There's no penalties for being in. Just be honest. It's all good. It means you do got to finish it by the end of the week. We did talk about that. Um, and so it kind of just helps me to gauge maybe, how we're doing. So if everybody please could do that, get those numbers up. We can, if the ends are really outweighing the Ys, we can pivot a bit on topic. And I'm going to get my cold pack while you're doing that, and I'm going to be right back. And when I stand up, you will see my jeans and know that Dobby has clothes for the first time in 4 weeks because I'm a boss, and I will be right back. Ice packs. Oh, okay. How we doing? Um, what's H stand for? Half? So we got about, okay, we got 10. Yeah, thank you. I was muted. Um, okay, got my ice pack. That's going to make it, oh, it's going to allow me to get through this. Um, so yeah, we got we got 10 yes, 16 no, and 5 half. I think the H is for half, yeah. Um, and yeah, Josh, let's go over the book inspired post. Um, we can do we this we are we are families. I already asserted um, without proof, but I did make the assertion. Um, we can do a number of things. Okay, we can go ahead and have Cuckoo's Egg talk. We could also wait on Cuckoo's Egg the discussion until I don't know, Thursday, and swap. There's nothing like hardcore on the schedule Thursday. We could even work it around, spring break. Although I'm sure that some of you are like, oh no, please don't give me a book to read over spring break. Of course, you've known about this for a long time, so, but I don't want to, I don't want to load up everybody's spring break, but I'm just trying to figure out. We can decide together as our community of the class what we want to do, what works, which is largely driven by whatever's best for you. um, if we don't do that today, and by the way, the week after that, we are going to have. There's a in the schedule here. It's not blacked out yet, but Dr. Seth Nielsen, we do have a confirmation for this week, either Tuesday or Thursday, and you're gonna really love Seth. Okay, that is a party. It's really, really, really good, and that just look forward to that. Again, I'll shove everything down here. We can so things I still want to talk about. I still want to talk about Cringely and the history, right, of computing. Um, I don't know if I had it. We have the LinkedIn profile coming up. And one of the things I could talk about also today is talk a bit more about the LinkedIn profile, a little bit of the principles of what I'm looking for there, because I am gonna grade it. That's why it says Dr. K. Um, but and Josh asked if we could look at the assignment stuff for Book Inspired Post, and the answer is yay, verily, yay. And I'll click to it, and then I'll just kind of review what that assignment actually is, okay, for everybody. Um, anyway, we got to talk about Cringely. We can also pick any relevant current topic that is bopping out there, which is we've already established everything, everything. What is the topic of this course? Every freaking thing. And to be really honest, I thought that in January, pre Dr. K goes out with the back thing. I thought that we had some really cool discussions about very live, hot issues in January. So we can also pick up another one of those. Um, so what else? What else were we going to talk about besides following up on Cringely, following up on the social dilemma? One of the things that I watched in the middle of the night, walking around on my walker with my tricked out telescoping. I'll show you. I'll drop a picture here at some point. Um, was the movie Snowden? I think I mentioned that last time. The movie Snowden, starring we talked about this, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, um, and that's an interesting one relative to it's sort of espionage, but it really relates to this notion of the relative ethics. You know what I mean? When are you pro or con on whistleblowers? But what if the whistleblower, doesn't matter, that the whistleblower is dealing with really, really high security crap and is aware that there's a bunch of effectively illegal wiretapping, or it's not wiretapping per se, it's illegal gathering of data on basically, full gathering of data across, all Americans, data and information about you. You can pump all that into some big AI, suddenly it's person of interest. How many of you have seen, I want to do another one, survey. How many of you have actually seen I'm going to make the survey real quick. Okay, I just dropped it. Survey. I have seen at least an episode or two of Person of Interest. Just curious, because again, that's really, really relevant. Okay, it's going to be vote time now. It's going to be vote time. I recommend it, by the way. I recommend Person of Interest. Starring Jim Caviezel. I don't even know if the guy has a name. John. His name is John. I don't think he. I think he's literally just John. Okay, we got 11 have read it. 16. Come on, we got. Just a second. Just a second. How many people are here? Devin, do you know off the top of your head how many people are actually? You ran the cancel bot.
I do, but I can't see until it saves the file at the end of tracking.
Okay, gotcha. Anyway, I just want to.
I can count though real quick.
That's what I'm
Oh
doing.
yeah,
I'm already beating you to the punch, man.
John's already got it. It's
18.
43 viewers.
John, 43 viewers. Okay, and that gives us 2734. We're missing 9. So we got 9 viewers that like dropped in, made sure they were counted by the cancel bot, and they're currently off.
It won't count. People do that and then they get a partial. 1 minute's like
No, no, I'm saying they
0.017%.
stay logged in. They
Oh
just
really?
yeah, they use right. You just go away from keyboard. You
Oh,
count it.
I see what you're saying
Yeah,
because of the people who responded. I see what you're talking
yeah. I'm
about.
just saying
Yeah.
right now, evidence suggests maybe that there are 9 people that are away from keyboard. Not sure. It's another way to do. It's another way to do attendance. Surveys. See, look, we also got it 34, 35. We're back to that same. Okay. Wow, only 3 of you have seen it. I recommend it. If you're looking for a good series to binge, I recommend it. The punchline is that there's this they call it The Machine, and one of the characters, Harold, was the creator of The Machine, and it's essentially kind of an AI that can predict it's a little bit shades of Minority Report, right? Minority Report was that movie with Tom Cruise. Uh, I think it's a good watch, but anyway, I like Person of Interest a lot. Okay, but this notion that they will just give them information, and the information they give them will allow them to identify an individual somewhere in like New York, and this individual is either about to perpetrate a crime, a violent crime, or is about to be the victim, and they don't know whether this is a perpetrator or a victim, but they do know that they're going to be involved in a crime if they don't intervene. So the premise is pretty cool. And again, it's related to Minority Report, but in Minority Report, it's more almost sci-fi-ish and less sort of, you know what I mean, more fantasy based and less sort of technology based. Okay, so question: What do we want to do? Um, let's do this. Okay, one more survey, and then we're gonna like dive into something. So here's the options. Okay, one is we talk about. Let me see. Right now, we should talk about 1 for Cuckoo's Egg, 2 for Cringely and/or any other historical things. 3, what are the other candidates? Current events, um, popping right now. Am I missing anything? Devin, I don't know, anybody that we ought to drop in the list? I've got 1 is going to be Cuckoo's Egg, 2 is going to be Cringely, 3, I think almost everybody's watched The Social Dilemma. Let me put Social Dilemma on there as well. And I apologize still that I never got my video done because I'm a big doofus. Is there anything else I ought to put in the survey? Those 4 options? Done. Okay, go. Just drop one, two, three, or four, and we'll survey this up real quick. And while we're surveying that, um, what is Gabe? What is that? What is the sounds like Chuck? What is that? What does that mean? Um,
Chuck was a older TV show with Zachary
oh,
Levi.
right, right,
It was
right.
where he gets that email from like a secret agent friend, and it contains all this super hyper classified information, and it's like downloaded into his
Into his
brain.
brain, and then he has these like flashbacks. Yeah, I tried to watch that series. I had a hard time with it.
I think it's kind of one of those funny, goofy ones. But I think it's if you get into it, I think it's fairly enjoyable. But you kind of have to watch it for the, it's kind of like Psych, where if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do, it's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. And the problem I had was that if they had played more heavily on the sort of his brain, it seemed like you'd have this whole episode and maybe one moment for like 10 seconds, he would do the accessing his brain computer thing, and then it wouldn't even show up. It was like, that's your major premise, and it's not showing up enough. That was my take for Chuck. And by the
Yeah.
way, so when Gabe said sounds like Chuck, sounds less like Chuck now, I was like taking that very personally, going like, what? I'm sorry, is my audio okay? What am I getting? Okay. And Michael, thanks for loving the course. I hope everybody's cool with the kind of the level of ambiguity that we float around in here. Okay, I'm okay with it. I really am just fine floating in this world that we live in. Okay. Um, while we continue to, where are we at? 26, 36, 42, 47. We got a couple of votes. Okay, that's fine. Voting for more than one is fine, I think. Okay, let me just talk real quick about the blog, the book inspired post. What you've been doing so far with writing, I tried, first of all, we did the short stories, the very short stories. And by the way, I haven't finished grading them because I'm a big dumb, but I'm actually just a crippled man with a lot of pain. I'm a crippled man. I'm a heavily medicated crippled man. Um, I still need to grade those. I'm coming around. Well, I'm coming on strong. Spring break. I mean, it's all coming together. I'm going to be back. Okay, Chuck will be back. Um, no, anyway, with that one, I was trying to get you to think concise, think tight, think meat and mayonnaise, right? Apply some of the things we applied with respect to writing, and then with the current events and or what do we call them? The smallish posts, presumably, inspired by the topic of the day, which was always a work in progress. So it's kind of like mostly it's turned into current events ish, and that's okay. Um, with those, the idea was one paragraph, limit you in scope. It's the opposite of what your really bad English teacher in junior high school made you do, or high school, which is giving you a word count that you had to get above. That's the worst, in my view. Pedagogically, that is such a bad thing. About the only thing worse than that is I don't know, everybody had like this sadistic social studies teacher in eighth grade who would make you write on the board 500 times or write an essay about, and it was punishment so that you learned that writing was punishment. So everybody learned that writing was punishment instead of writing is this really cool experience where you get to take what's in here and put it out there where somebody else can ingest it, and then it goes like that inside of them. What an amazing thing. And the writing as punishment slash you have to fill the word count works against that so brutally. So the smallest blog posts were intended to say, no, don't ramble, say a thing, be concise, be tight about it, you know. But but you've got only one paragraph, and in that one paragraph, you're going to start it, say something meaty, and end it, and you're going to make something that's as definitive a statement as you can make, right? And now we're going. Sorry, one more ice pack. Excuse me. This one's a little more, ugh. I just need it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay. Sorry, rearranging the ice packs. This will help me to get through class. And by the way, after class, I'm going to the grocery store with my son. I'm going to walk around the grocery store without a walker. I'll be okay. So after having done this, practiced doing just a paragraph, I want to just blow that up a little bit. The book inspired posts are just, you're allowed to be bigger. So that just means, and let me go here onto the page where I can blow that up and we can talk about it just a little bit. But you're saying more is all. It could be a little bit, maybe more like a 5-paragraph essay, but not that big. Not that big. Maybe like a 3 paragraphs. Like to me, if it's in the neighborhood of, right here, a book response. I shouldn't say response. Ooh, that's bad. Hang on a second. I'm going live on the change here since nobody's done this anyway. A book. A book inspired post is like a longer version. Okay, so the books are mandatory, right? You got to complete the reading and you got to write a thoughtful blog post of some substance. It's like a longer version of the smallish post, blog post from the daily readings. You need to give me some insight and analysis on the general topic, right? And it's not a book report. So don't just be like, here are the 5 things that Cliff said. Now you can, you do have to give me a link to the book or just somewhere in the blog post. You can, cite to the book so we know what the book was. And I'm going to come back to some of the comments that are being dropped right now. And then you're graded on writing an insight. No, I'm going to get rid of that because the reality is we'll post the time. And then we're not worried about late. Right now, where I'm really, maybe when I got all my crap together after spring break, I'll sort of become hard-nosed and the deadlines will be real. For now, I just want everybody to just get caught up, use spring break if you have to, not going crazy on deadlines and stuff. And it's the same scale, same 5-point scale. For real. Same freaking scale. Do good, and then you're going to be fine. Typos, you know what I mean? You got a typo, you lose a point. Don't have a typo. Do your best writing, make a point, and I'm going to continue to let everybody, after having gotten something graded, to resubmit and, just to work it some more, work it a little more and see if you can make it a little better, fix the typos. Also, even by the way, when we do hot, medium, and mild feedback, even if we say hot, it doesn't mean that whatever Devin or Tim or I say that's the canonical, rubric now for you to get 100. Like if you do everything we said, that means you get 100. You know what I mean? Sometimes the suck is so bad that we're going to give you highlights. And even if you fix the highlights, there's still just stuff, especially on something a little bigger like this. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, hitting some of the, let me see, hitting some of the comments. So Devin said, my AP English composition teacher would give us assignments where we would be given an excellent essay, and our assignment would be what? To copy it word for word by hand? Is she teaching you to plagiarize? She said the more we copied good essays, the better our own essays would become.
Pretty
Okay.
bad, right?
That doesn't strike me. That doesn't strike me as hitting the sweet spot of how to teach writing. But
No, it was pretty bad. So I got an A in the class, and it was a shiz ton of work. But I failed the AP exam because I obviously didn't become a better writer.
That's awesome, man. Thanks, Devin. One of the worst teachers I've ever had. But I mean, in the days of copy and paste though, and OCR,
It was her philosophy. That wasn't like every assignment, but there was a lot of those. I think her thinking was something along the lines of it forces you to actually read it because you have to copy it down by hand word for
yeah.
word so you can see different, I guess. I
I
don't know.
get that at some level. I
It,
guess I get that at some
I
level.
get it at some level, but
Yeah.
it happened so often. Like we had those assignments incredibly frequently, but it just yeah, it was bad. It was one of the worst classes I ever took. But I mean, it was high school
Nice.
and it didn't really matter, I guess. So it
Yeah.
gave me a lot of homework, and then I got to university, and it was like, oh, this is easy
Yeah.
in comparison.
Yeah. Okay. So Camille asked, can we resubmit something more? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Camille. Absolutely. You do the submission, and then just later on, what you do is just go edit your blog post. Just make the blog post better. Do a little cleanup, and then just drop a new submission. In the same in the same assignment. You can do it over and over and over again. Really for the rest of the semester, trying to make it better. And my guiding principle on that, as long as we're talking about writing, it always struck me as weird. I remember being in an English class somewhere. I don't remember whether it was at Iowa or whether it was at BYU. Those were my two undergrad schools. Um, but I remember doing like an essay the first week, like do this essay, blah, blah, blah. And I do the essay in this English class and I get like a freaking C on it or whatever. And I'm like, crap, you didn't actually teach us anything yet. I mean, if this is like a pre-test for placement, or something that, you know what I mean, that gives you some sense of how I'm doing or whatever. No, I already lost points, right? Um, it would be like dropping into a French class, you know, and then and the teacher just first day just goes, bonjour, comment ça va? And you're like, huh? Like, F. You just lost 5 points. Good luck. It's like, you got to teach me stuff first. Come on. So I've had other classes, one amazing English class at the University of Iowa, which has a really great grad program in English, like one of the top in the country. And I had this PhD student that taught my English class, freshman English at Iowa, where I asked him one day, he wouldn't grade any of our assignments. He gave us a check plus, and a check minus. That's how every assignment was graded. And I asked him, how do I get an A? How do I get my A, right? I needed to like get my 4 point and rock it. And he said, if at the end of the semester you are an A writer, you get an A. I was like, okay, that's a revelation. But I think that was much closer to the mark, for the point of the whole thing. So that's part of the reason why. Oops, hang on. Oh, sorry. Hang on a second. Drop my bag. Drop my pad. My cold pack. Anyway, this is really in the spirit of that, honestly. Very much in the spirit of that I'm trying to say, just keep working it, try to get better. And I do believe, we had last semester was the first time that I did this class here at UVU, and we will do in person via Discord writing workshops where we get together and look at your writing, and then we'll just kind of like jump on it and do it together. Which is like a little bit of a terror moment, right? You're just like, wait, we're just gonna like start reading one of my blog posts, and you're just gonna start going. And yes, exactly. But I was able to do kind of a survey of everybody about how they felt about the writing and what happened. And number one, we saw the writing. That's true, Devin. You and me and Tim, we saw the writing improve dramatically as the semester went on. And then a lot of people were able to like double back and apply that, and if you had the desire to put that effort in. And everybody, literally 100% said, expressed that it had made them do more writing than they would have done, stay doing it, where for some of you it's really uncomfortable. I get that. Okay, what else to say about this? Oh yeah, I wanted to just um Kane, your favorite English teacher, had everyone in the class get in a big circle and asked everyone to share their favorite curse word on the first day. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, let me see. And then Michael had said, uh, from his own experience in writing, in the class, information should be concise and to the point, as well as being easy to understand. The idea is to get to the destination as quickly as one can while understanding the context of why that information is important. I look at that as you're trying, there's an idea in your head. The reason that we write is that there's an idea in your head, and we would like the idea in my head to come out of my body somehow into some artifact. And typically it would be verbal, audio, or written. And then somebody else can take that artifact and ingest it by reading it or by listening to it. And then that thing that was in my head, that mental model or idea that was in my head, it literally transfers from one body to another body. That's what we're doing. So when you're writing and you're writing to someone else, your audience is someone else, um, and you do it right, there's a very low barrier to entry. You ever read a book where the writing is so clean and so just smooth that you're just like, you're almost not even conscious of turning the pages because the writing is so smooth that you're just like riding this horse, and it's very, if you've ever done that, and it's really smooth. When you get a great horse and it is galloping at full speed or, fast, it's actually a very smooth ride. When you're that, when you're going slow, that you go, you know, smack your butt on the seat. I guess we call that a saddle, but you know what I'm trying to say. Um, where you're just like flipping pages, like, and you're not even conscious of reading. It's just like a movie's playing in your head. That is great writing. And what they've done is lowered the barrier to entry so that their ideas, the story, whatever, is just flowing into you effortlessly. And there are others. This is a book I've been trapped in now for months, a sci-fi novel. I'm halfway through it. And every time I go, I can only go 10 pages at a shot because the writing is so frickin' clunky, so clunk that it's like being jarred out of, I'm trying to drop in and dig the story, but the writing is so clunky that like literally every other sentence, it's like clunk, like, whoa. And I'm reminded that I'm reading a book and not a very well written one. A little bit like great cinema, you get lost in the theater, right? You get lost in the moment. You suspend disbelief and you're in. And then crappy cinema, say every Hallmark movie ever created. I'm sorry, there was probably one good one, maybe, but the writing is so bad, or the dialogue is so bad, or the directing is so bad, or the acting is so bad. Something is so bad that it just like jars you out, and you realize that you're sitting in a theater or watching, this thing. You don't get sucked in. And that's what you're trying to do with your writing. One paragraph, and you start going, and the more meat versus mayonnaise there is, the quicker it goes in, and the writing will just start going, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, and you'll just get drawn through that paragraph. And when you're done, you're like, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but the read was great. That's the goal for all of this writing. Okay. And again, for some of you that don't like writing, I know that's a thing, but it still is a benefit to you professionally to get better at this because you're still going to write those emails and those documents, and you're going to have to do that. So, let me see. Yeah, Michael said entertainment can have more filler, right? Because the entertainment, the reason there's more filler is that you're just playing this. You're just exploring the studio space, and there's more room to kind of do that. When you're trying to be a little more op-ed, you need to kind of be like, joink, go. Hit it. You got to make that sound, the joink. You got to go joink. And when you make the joink, then you're in the right, neck of the woods. Okay, what else? Michael asked, Coder said there might not even be one good Hallmark movie. I have to agree with that. Michael said it's like the writing becomes your own ideas, then the difference between the book and your thoughts almost doesn't exist while you're reading, is what you're saying. Yeah, I guess ish. It's more just like one approach is you could talk about the book, but what I don't want is a book report. Like, for example, there are a number of themes in the Cuckoo's Egg. One of them is the fact that the law trails reality. That's a theme in the Cuckoo's Egg, right? That when you first try to prosecute this kind of crime, it's wrong, but there's like no law in the books for cybercrime, right? So you have these early cases where somebody's convicted of like stealing electricity or, stealing 25 cents or something where there's not actually a law. That's a theme. You could, for example, say that, you know, make a post about how the law naturally trails technology, right? Technology evolves, law doesn't show up until that moment hits, right? There are no speed limits until there were cars. I don't think there were speed limits when there were horses. I mean, there are still horses, but you know what I mean? When the world was horse and buggy, there weren't speed limits. When you had cars that could suddenly go 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, and at some level you began at some point, I don't know when the first speed limit signs were, but right, you had to have the first car accident before you could have the first speed limit sign. See, it trails. You can make that whole post about it. And as you build your evidence, you could say, a classic example, is in the Cuckoo's Egg, where the following happens, and you're using, you could do it that way, where you're using the Cuckoo's Egg to sort of like build, you know what I mean? To kind of like build your argument. But you're just writing about how the law trails technology. Cliff happens to talk about that. Another one is Cliff comes to grips with black and white thinking versus gray zone thinking. That's another theme from the book, because Cliff starts out and he has a girlfriend, I guess. And she's very much the black and white thinking, right? He finds that someone's been breaking into the server, and she's like, well, how do we know that they're not on our side? She's still playing team sports, right? And he's like, well, they're breaking in, they don't have permission. What is this? This our side, does it even matter? So the whole notion of whether behavior is ethically correct, right or wrong, based upon team jersey. There's a crap ton of that today. Oh my ever loving freak. Oh my gosh. If any of you, by the way, have only ever denigrated the political party to which the other one that you don't belong to, if you have only ever denigrated one political party, let me make a bold statement here, or if you have ever made the statement that only this one party does this one thing, I'm going to go bold here and say you're part of the problem and you lack some introspection. Coming as an extreme centrist, um, you know, as a radical independent, and a advocate of radical nuance, I have friends that they've literally never, some friends that have never criticized a Republican ever, others who have never criticized a Democrat ever. You know what I mean? And there's always only this one party would ever do that one thing, which is always, I'm going to go bold, always bullcrap, in my opinion. Okay. Well, okay. So, point just being inspiring this idea. Look at the things that team sport idea is also a theme in the Cuckoo's Egg. Right. So, what you're really trying to do is write a little essay about the subject area, and you're drawing inspiration from the book. It doesn't even have to be directly about the book. You know, you could just have, as a footnote, just simply say, hey, everybody, I recommend, for more on this subject, I recommend this book. And it's the one you read. You know what I mean? It's really almost better if you don't do something that looks like a book report. In The Cuckoo's Egg by Clifford Stahl, he starts off talking about the one thing, then he talks about this, then he talks about that. You know, that's that's no good. Okay, Michael, I hope that helps. Okay, what else? Gabe, what was your experience watching Aquaman? Which I thought was a horrible movie. All the DC movies, I'm sorry, they suck. All of them. Oh,
Yeah, that was pretty much the experience that, and we were talking about like not feeling the smoothness, feeling the clunkiness as the movie's
oh,
going on.
right,
That
right.
was the experience with Aquaman.
Jarring. I had that with Batman versus Superman. You're like, the whole movie starts and you're like, this is really a stupid premise. And
Yeah,
when the movie ends, you're like, so you resolved a really stupid premise through very
I,
much punching. It was
I think the first Wonder Woman's okay. You don't feel like, wow, this is garbage as you're watching it.
agreed,
But
agreed.
I think the second Wonder Woman's okay as well, but literally all of the other ones are
I didn't see the
absolute
second one
garbage.
because to me, the
It's
problem I
okay.
have is when you know there's a secret move and you're getting your ass kicked over and over and over again, and it takes you 2 hours to go, like, oh, you could have played that card a lot earlier in this gig, right? That just makes me crazy. I'm sorry. But no, I just want to say, like, I just want to say with Aquaman, you got, what's his name? Jason Momoa. That guy, okay, number one, crazy handsome guy, built and I mean his optics, the optics on Jason Momoa is like epic. You know what I mean? He is an epic looking superhero. Like truly. I mean, even dude's natural eyebrows are like weird and perfect. You know what I mean? Everything. So I'm loving the optics. Then you got to go and do other stuff. Um, okay. Yeah, Michael, make sure you say yoink. Okay. Flow, man. Okay, let me see what we got. I'm just kind of just doing a quick scan. Cole will talk about how the FBI sucks. Yeah, where's Martha? Um, what is BVS extended cut? What is that? BVS. I feel like I should divine the acronym on that one.
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus Superman. Okay. I would have gone with smaller V, I guess. Um, Superman's facial hair edited out. Okay.
He had to grow a mustache for the Mission Impossible movie, I think,
Oh, he
and
had to grow
for
mustache. Oh,
part of the filming, they didn't want to. He wouldn't shave it, so they had to edit it, and it went really badly.
okay, nice. All right. Okay, all right. Okay. Are we good about the blog post stuff? Okay, let's talk about current events. Let's go current events. We're going to rock and roll for a little while, and then I'm going to go to a grocery store where I will fall and break my hip and they will have to put me down. Um that's how I see it playing out in my mind. Okay? Um all right. We're having a party. Let's talk about what's the current event? Technology based current event, okay? Which is basically every freaking thing, it seems. Throw it down. You guys got to own the topics here. And I want to in every case I want you to be thinking about, the ethical implications. Mars rover, Mars rover. That's a great headline. NASA's latest Mars rover has the same processor as an iMac from 1998 and 256 meg RAM. Yeah, man. No, that's actually very common to go that when you're doing like NASA stuff, you don't want the cutting edge. Um, you don't want to have the cutting edge processor that hasn't been fully fleshed out and the bugs haven't been, you know, fixed in it. You'll NASA, those guys will typically go back quite a ways, as this is evidence, 20, 23 years. Um, that's common. That's really, and you don't need that much memory. You don't need, all that guts, right? You need something that's reliable above and beyond anything because there's no field upgrading the chip. That chip dies, you're dead. What else? What else? Better camera. Yeah, and you're also power. It's also power efficiency. Yeah, yeah. Usually those processors are burning less juice, the older ones. Devin, I don't know what Go Percy is. I'm not catching the reference, so I apologize for not being.
The Perseverance rover.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the Perseverance rover
Its
nickname.
nickname is Percy.
Yeah, not everybody did an internship at NASA and knows all this crap. So I'm good with okay, I get it. I like it. How about the already there was like fake video go making the rounds. First video from Perseverance, and it was like not video from Perseverance. Already like deep faking the uh the NASA thing. Is that harmless or is that like really bad form? What do you think about that one? You know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know if you've seen that in the news. You know, I mean, I've seen the people posting first video. You can hear the wind and what have you. Um, what do you guys think? What do you think? Is that just harmless fun? A little trollery?
I don't know. I feel like it kind of falls into Stefan the Cuckoo's egg, where his big problem with hacking was ruining trust.
It
And
does
I feel like if you
absolutely,
fake these
yeah.
videos, it make it a lot harder for people to trust exactly what they're seeing and maybe want to dive in and research more. But maybe that could be a good thing. I don't know.
No, I like that a lot. I agree with that, Ian. I do think it diminishes trust. And on the one hand, though, it's 2021. Everybody by now ought to have figured out that you really can't trust. You can't trust anything, anything at face value. And back when email was like a new thing in the 90s, um, right? And it was email hoaxes. Please forward this email. Bill Gates will give everybody a free trip to Disneyland if you forward this email. You're like, you know. And in my sort of extended family, I was always the designated jerk who had to copy the entire thread. Hey everybody. Yeah, Gabe, Nigerian prince. I've gotten that one. I've gotten that a couple different times in different varieties. Um, yeah, the Nigerian scam. Yeah, Camille. So this is an interesting question, Camille, right? You just said, but Camille said, I never understood who gained from those forwarding email things, right? And really, it's not, nobody really, I mean, other than like the scams or phishing attacks and Nigerian scams and things like that, right? Um, and y'all know why they're called Nigerian scams, right? It's going to be so obvious. If you don't already know, like literally the first it was like a cottage industry literally in Nigeria that the first I don't even know like the first so many of that sort of phishing thing literally originated in Nigeria, and that's why it became called the Nigerian scam. And the person emailing you was always a Nigerian prince, and uh, and they got to have some help transferring money in your direction. Um, man. So Coder, man, there was one going around to UVU employees about someone winning the lottery and they were giving money away to UVU employees. I missed that one. I probably would have signed up. Yeah, no, who benefits, Camille? I don't know. I think it's just a sort of a sick satisfaction to just mess with people, right? Here's an interesting thing, and I can get the data. This is actually very interesting. I just realized it. I did some research back in the day about motivations for gamer motivations. And it turns out that there are 4 main motivations for gaming, especially in the sort of the MMORPG kind of universe, okay? And that is, think about this for a second. It's kind of obvious, but, and I don't remember the numbers, like one of them is like trails in terms of numbers, and the big 3 are achievements, right? You're trying to like, it's sort of like what we think of as gamification. I'm unlocking the levels, I'm leveling up, that desire to level up. That achievement oriented is one motivation for gamers. There's another one that is the social aspect, right? There are people in your, World of Warcraft or whatever your sort of online MMORPG kind of environment who don't really care that much. They're having fun, but they derive their greatest satisfaction from the social interactions. Okay? So social interaction, but think about this. The reason I'm going here is I want to think about this from the perspective of the use of technology, social media, for example. But the second one was social interaction. The third one, they sometimes would call these mappers. These were people for whom the exploring of the space was the big thing that they loved. The adventure, exploring the space. The fourth were usually, and this is about 5%. So 95% was those 3. The remaining 5% was a group that were typically referred to as either killers or griefers. What are they doing? These are like, the people in World of Warcraft that are going to like descend on, remember the stories about, there's this famous funeral where there's somebody, I don't even remember. I think one of the players had like died in real life and they were doing a funeral in World of Warcraft. And this other group just descends on the funeral and wipes everybody out. They just get a kick out of just being kind of a-holes. That's their persona, and they just want to mess with people. And that's their big thing. Leroy Jenkins. I don't know what Leroy Jenkins' motivation was. Leroy Jenkins had a death wish. You know what I mean? That is. Leroy Jenkins had a death wish. That's a classic. If somebody can drop a link, somebody mind dropping a Leroy Jenkins link just to bring everybody's cultural literacy up just a little bit. Yeah, no, right. So Gabe was talking about slaughtering villages in Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim, but right. There was also, by the way, this famous. Do you remember the man? What was it called? Thank you for the Leroy Jenkins. You can give that a watch, everybody. It's just really a classic moment in gaming history. There's everything that's possibly wrong about that is wrong about that. No, but what was the other one? What was it called? It was a virus in World of Warcraft. I want to say it was called Bad Blood, but I can't remember now because I never played World of Warcraft. I want to say it was called Bad Blood. To me, if somebody remembers this, where basically it was only supposed to apply in some area, but there was a bug in the software, and it could be spread. You could leave the area where this virus was happening, and people were right, that WoW epidemic. Ammon, what was it? What was it called? It was called something like corrupted blood. Thank you, Gabe. Right, the corrupted blood. And there were people who then their new quest became to go get infected and then to go spread it everywhere around World of Warcraft. And I believe it was in World of Warcraft, right? And then there were others who were, I don't know what they were, healers. Again, I don't know from a lot of hands-on experience about, the internals of World of Warcraft. Who were healers who would actually run around trying to heal everybody. So you had these two competing, doing good, kind of blessing people's lives thing, and this other group, basically griefers, just running around trying to just randomly infect everybody. So I think Camille, for a lot of these folks, the motivation is literally, sorry, new ice pack. The motivation literally relates to the desire to just mess with people, little satisfaction. And if they can push like a virus, a lot of the people that build viruses are doing it for. I agree, Camille. I think it is sad. Um, but a lot of the virus thing, some of those folks are like, some of it's pernicious and kind of like calculated, whatever Russian operatives or something. But there's a lot of it where it's just like hobbyists who want to just see who can get their. I mean, some of it's very deliberate. Like I need to infect a bunch of machines so I can turn them into zombie machines when I need to use them to launch a distributed denial of service attack. That's sort of one motivation. But another one is just who can spread it far and wide. And that's the goal. It's just like, it's a kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a twisted goal. It's a little bit antisocial, you know what I mean? Maybe a little bit sociopathic, a little pathological at some level where you really, really aren't concerned with people and the fact that you're burning their time, messing with them, that you're hurting people. Even if it's to me, losing trust is a small hurt. Okay, other stuff. So Gabe, yeah, I just said I had to stop playing Battlefield 5. Just too many hackers / cheaters ruining the game. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, what else? What other topics? For those of you who have not seen Leroy Jenkins previously, I hope you've already watched. And if not, don't miss the moment, okay? Nice. John, very nice tribute to Minecraft. And by the way, for me, there were games like Minecraft that I never could. I was talking about gaming. I never could get into the point. I never really grokked the point of Minecraft. Isn't that horrible? And keep in mind that I was a classic ancient gamer. Okay. I was a solid gamer. When did Pong come out? Can somebody find? Oh, League of Legends, by the way, I also tried to play. I diligently tried. And I felt like the controls and the metaphor, everything was too complex, and I had too much like work on my head that I didn't have the bandwidth to invest in learning all about the gameplay. And yes, Ammon, not all games are. Guess we're talking about games, which is just fine. 72 for Pong. Okay, Michael. Pong, 1972. Okay, I was a gamer since 1972. Okay. Pong. I played the original arcade game of Pong that you had to play you had to like put a nickel in or something to play Pong. I played that. And I played, like all the classic ancient games. I played Wolfenstein 3D when it was new. I played Doom. I was actually a really good Doom player. I played the Intellivision, the Atari Intellivision, and there was some point where I lost. I played all of the ancient Quest games that were built by Sierra Online, Space Quest, King's Quest. Anyway, Tetris. I was a Tetris master. I mean, just so many classic games that I was kind of there when they were new. I played the original Tetris, the one that was written by Alexei Pajitnov in Russia. When was that? 1988. So I was actually not, it was the Soviet Union still. Before the fall of the Soviet Union, I was playing the actual binary Tetris for DOS that came out of Russia. I played that actual game, not like a knockoff or something like. Played the original. Anyway, I'm just saying, somewhere along the line, I don't know exactly why, but I got derailed and lost track of a lot of the MMORPGs. There you go, Gabe. There's this thing now, right, where people have to just hack different interfaces and play. Is it always Doom that they try to play? You know, I watched there was some game that somebody was playing on like a pregnancy test where you know what I mean, where there was a game they had made where you hack the thing and get access to the monitor, right? Minesweeper, yeah, Minesweeper, yep. Played that. Um, Doom was quite a game, man. Um, like I said, I got really, really good at it. I could win every level starting from scratch with only a pistol. Um, okay. All right. Yeah. So what's the motivation, right? What in the heck? What's wrong with people? How about this one? What's the motivation? Think about this. Okay, can we talk about QAnon for a second? What is the motivation of the people? Now, I'm not talking about the gullible followers, okay? I'm not talking about the people, the conspiracy followers, who I think, on balance, are intensely gullible. And I think the reason that they're gullible, I'm going to go bold here, okay? Because I know a number of these people, which doesn't make me the expert, right? It's still just Chuck having an opinion. And as we talked about, I can be wrong about everything I say, right? We know that Chuck could be wrong all day long. So you know what I mean? You know that I don't think I'm right about everything. I just don't know which ones I'm wrong about. So I continue to work it. But in my opinion, the folks that are gullibly consuming conspiracy theories are, on balance, people who it's like a drug. It's like drug addiction. What is it about drugs and illicit materials? Uh, it's a shortcut to a chemical buzz, right? When you take drugs illegally, you're typically doing that because you're trying to get to some brain chemical moment. But rather than getting on your exercise bike and working it in order to release some endorphins, which is your brain's own personal morphine supply, you just go get morphine, and do whatever you do with morphine. I don't know how you do morphine, but you know what I mean. You short circuit the body's natural processes bring pleasure and other kinds of stuff, and the way the body's built to work through millennia, millions of years, whatever, is to have these processes that lead to the triggering of the pleasant things, and often they're based around positive behaviors, like you get to exercising and you feel the endorphins get released, and you short circuit it when you take those drugs into your system and you sort of put those chemicals in. Okay, what I'm getting at, I think there's a process of learning and exploring, reading, studying, researching things. It's a law of the harvest. It takes a bit of work to do all that. And then when you're done, you learn a bunch of things, and now you know a bunch of things. Everybody that I know that is sort of QAnon gullible, whether they're actually QAnon followers or not, if they're just gullible of that type, they almost always have an intense need and desire to feel knowledgeable without the law of the harvest, of actually reading, the 20 books that underlie the idea. They're just going to read the one thing that reveals the great secret and makes them feel powerful, like a drug, short circuiting the natural process. That's my own opinion about the consumers of conspiracy theory. So I feel like at some level I understand that. What I don't understand, and this really comes back to Camille's comment, what I really don't understand is the motivation of the people producing this crap. You know what I mean? What's their there has to be, up there in the upper reaches of, say, QAnon or any other conspiracy, people who kind of flat out know that it's just not true. What's right? What's their motivation, right? Isn't that really the same, Camille? As the people posting stupid email hoaxes? Is it just like a weird griefer thing? They feel powerful because they can mobilize a bunch of people through whatever. What is the motivation for that? I don't understand that at all. I understand the gullibility way more of the many, way more than I understand the motivation of the producers of all that. Other than just, I guess, power and control, right? One way or another, get people worked up. Or do you suppose there's actually people out there that like honestly believe it? Somehow they're just whatever. I don't know what they are. They're what would they have to be? I don't know. Are they mentally ill? Is there some mental health crisis that is causing them to believe, to see in some things patterns, overfit the data, see patterns where none really exist? I don't know, man. And then I'm going to just review the comments real quick. We're running out of time. Let me see. Great comments, by the way. Love your comments always. Right. Gabe said with conspiracy theories, this sort of good feeling of I'm in the know, I'm on the inside. Like thinking you know this thing that nobody else knows gives you a high. It gives you a sort of superiority complex. Please said, and I think that's right. Camille just said to spread distrust and then give themselves more power by being able to control and influence gullible people they mislead. I think, yeah. Ian says he's heard some weird conspiracy crap lately. Yeah, no shock. And Ian, none of us are shocked or in the least surprised. Alex, some people want to just burn it down. Oh man, Pizzagate. Um, oh my gosh. So Gabe mentions Pizzagate and /Q as a joke because it's crazy. And he was like, oh, but it's totally true. And he was like dead serious, right? Dead serious. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
man.
to the point. It's to the point where I kind of try to avoid him, where he's so shockingly like he fully believes it, and whenever I mention anything around him, it's like it's scary how much he believes it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, and I'm going to wrap up here, but um, I'm trying to look. I'm looking up something as well that I want to share with you. But um, the I understand being cynical. I really do understand about being cynical about media. Coder had said, that lack of trust in media and government. Sure, I think that's. I think lack of trust in media and government is well founded. Honestly, right? I think that truly objective media almost doesn't exist. By the way, I subscribed to a news digest called 1440. Did we talk about this? Um, I'd recommend you look at it. It's just stripped out all the op-ed crap, and it's just like. And so my son and I the other day we took the 1440 report about something, and we just walked through it, and it was like really devoid of the stupid politics. And then we looked at CBS News, which for my money is one of the more centered kind of news sources, and looked at their article about that thing. And you could see the insertion of little bits of political sort of, you know what I mean? The op-ed flavor was sort of there a little bit like a garnish. And then we went and looked at CNN, just further to the left. Um, and then you could just by comparing the same story starting with 1440. So I'd go look it up. I've been trying to find news sources that are just like, can somebody please give me the freaking facts on the ground? Please stop telling me what I'm supposed to conclude. Please, can you please give me a link to the full video? It's just gotten to the point where I feel like, you know, Ian, We're out of time. But seriously, someone was telling you that the snow in Texas was weather warfare and that it was fabricated snow. What the literal hell? I am also now dumbfounded with you. I am dumbfounded. Wow, wow. Crazy, crazy. And by the way, I want to just say this, and I'm going to cut loose. The solution, in my view, to this sort of this kind of informational weirdness, when the mainstream media and/or mainstream platforms, big tech, whatever you want to call them, begin to like ban platforms, right? Like when Parler was, taken off of ban from AWS, right? I don't really know much about it, right? I was exploring and trying to figure out, is there an alternative to Facebook? Because I'm getting really sick of, you know what I mean? I was getting a little bit sick of the big brother behavior of Facebook, with their fact checkers, right? And in my mind, if they could keep it at a certain distance from the edge, they maintain credibility. But you go up to that edge, and then you cross that edge, and then you just look like psychotic big brother, taking stories that are actually, verifiably true, and the fact checkers are saying it's not true, then everything just breaks down badly. You know what I mean? My opinion. So anyway, wow, this got really good. This got really good down the stretch, and we got to go because I got to go break a hip in the grocery store. All the new wind turbines blew cold air into Texas to freeze them. You guys are not just trolling me, right? And Chad, you did convince him. That's shocking. Or he just gave up on you. That's the other one. I've known people that at some level they would just kind of agree with you to make you stop giving them information and facts. Anyway, I got to scoot, but anyway, what I like to do, I don't know if I'll see if I can find it. It's been a little while, but I had a situation where on a Facebook exchange, man, it's probably been it'll take me a little while to find it, but where one of my friends who was dropping one of these, you just wait, kind of things, and I was like, um, it was something like, you just wait, by the end of the month, it was this kind of vague crap, and I literally said something like, well, rather than, if you know what's going to happen, rather than, vaguely pointing at, whatever, like something that reads like a horoscope, put an actual statement of what's going to happen in an envelope, seal it, and I literally was like, and then in a month, just drop me a video of you opening the envelope, and if you're correct, I'll give you $100. I think I threw down the gauntlet, something like that, and the thread ended like really, really fast. But I really get so weary of that sort of like, yeah, it's something I can't tell you just what, but it's gonna be big. You just watch. By the end of the year, makes me crazy. Okay, let's shut down. We got to stop it. Good discussions. I'll see if I can find that and maybe just drop you a text of what the thing was. So, all right, everybody. Hey, I'm glad to be at least partially functional and hanging with y'all. And I'll get caught up on all the other crap by the end of spring break because my body's going to keep healing up. I believe it. So I'm out of here. You should be as well. And I'm going to shut it down.